Reverend Julius Vanhook, and I am chairperson of this committee.
Okay. All righty.
At this time, again, I'd like to welcome everyone. Are there any announcements? Right, okay. All right. And we are grateful for our CAB chair, Ms. Ozzie Carter, and for Ms. Brenda Lee, was also a member of the OCEC subcommittee. And we're grateful for our guest, the Reverend Alexandria Spearman,
Yes.
joining us today. Is there any public comment at this time?
Oh, she's with that. Okay.
Right. So next on our agenda is the approval of the minutes from November 21st, 2023. There's a time needed to take a minute to look over the minutes, please. Time.
Make sure. I make a motion that we approve the minutes of the November 21st, 2023 meeting.
Second. Right.
Recorder.
All- All right, we have a motion, we have a second. All in favor of approving the minutes from the November 21st, 2023 meeting, say aye or raise your hand.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you. So next on our agenda, we have, we're supposed to discuss the CAB applications for new membership to be considered by nomination for the full Community Advisory Board. And this time we have informal interview with our next Reverend Alexandria Spearman.
Yeah.
So at this time, we're going to ask you a couple questions. Let's talk about your possible membership with us. So first, I'd like to start by thanking you for joining us today. And some of us are aware of your work and what it is that you do and your consideration for the CAB membership and what you bring. So my first question is, understanding what you know about the Community Advisory Board and your work at Contra Costa County, what would you bring to the Advisory Board with your work and your experience?
From my last meeting where I was a guest, and there was a presentation for organizations going on. And I recognized that the questions I was invited to ask for the group were well welcomed. And they came from my perspective as a juvenile chaplain, which means to me that thinking about the diversity of our kids, and knowing on a one-on-one, face-to-face level what they're looking for and what they need. I think that bringing that knowledge is beneficial to the group, and also because that knowledge was pointed out to me as being beneficial to the group, and that I should take it.
I see that you served over the past decade at the Allen Temple Baptist Church. I know that they're known for their community involvement. What are some of the things that you've done there to bring to the work here in Contra Costa County and CAB?
That's a good question. The first thing that comes to mind, it was the year 2012, and we were doing open drive, voter registration, voter education. And a part of what I did there was surveying the groups in our youth in our church, and then some of our community organizations who were guests for workshops and what do they know about the elections and what they know about the positions that were up for election. And what I did, I think, which was important to me, I put together the presentation breaking down, what office is which. And the feedback was that, oh, this was really helpful, was really qualitative, this was really helpful. I always vote for, I don't really know what I'm voting for when I do it, but getting sort of education on a basic level, because people think you know what each level does, but you can't just go along assuming. So I found that to be one of my most exciting and rewarding activities there.
Oh, yeah, I was gonna ask you, I was reading here, excuse me. Leads, and you have one, and you said you have, justice, community, and leadership, and spiritual resistance and resilience. What is that exactly? How would you explain that?
Okay, so it maybe have been combined on the paper.
Okay,
Yes, but
Okay.
I graduated St. Mary's College of California.
yeah, okay, Mary, okay.
Yes,
Mhm.
and the degree in justice, community, and leadership.
Oh, okay,
And that program consisted of, it was civic studies. It consisted of educational activism. We learned about school policies, how to advocate. We had opportunities to do service learning. One of my activities chosen was the reading partners, which was helping kids, younger kids, elementary school get on reading level. Which
okay, okay,
reading levels lead to the
Yes,
jail, so
yeah.
that's how I got here together.
okay, right, okay.
And
Mhm.
and we talked about environmental, so really sort of justice areas, so social justice, racial justice, environmental justice,
Oh, okay.
educational justice.
Okay,
What does it mean? How to critically read, how to read media, how to be aware and write about it, talk about it, and activate yourself. Don't just learn something and do nothing with it, but activate yourself in the community.
okay, okay. Also, you have on here,
Oh, and the spirituality and resilience
yes,
is the master's degree program that I'm in now, which
okay,
is putting together the theological work with the social justice work.
oh, okay, okay.
Even hope is a.
And then where you taking that class? Where you doing that through?
Berkeley School of Theology.
I know it well, up
Yeah.
the hill, yeah. I know it well.
Yes.
Okay, oh, okay, yeah, yeah,
Go
Victor.
there. Yes, exactly, and I love that we can take classes that count.
Mhm, mhm. Also, that, you're expanding your juvenile chaplaincy department?
Yes.
Okay, and how exactly are you doing that? You said with community resourcing, what is that, what is that exactly?
Oh, so thank you for asking. I'm very excited.
Okay,
We have expanded our budget, and which has allowed for us to hire chaplains and more chaplains who will be trained in a strengths-based, whole person, hope-centered activism and social justice oriented work. So kind of duplicating myself
And
in
this
a
is-
way.
okay,
And
okay,
they're as a community resource chaplain, the most important piece is that they are connecting with the different organizations. As we see who's coming in and what organizations are out there,
Mhm.
our chaplains are going out to meet with these organizations. How can what your program is doing offer or meet the needs of our youth? And they're gonna have all their ears always to it. And also companioning our youth while they go to the
Okay.
pro-social activity event that's happening at the community center and keeping up. Like,
Okay.
okay, do you like this? How is this going? How are you feeling about this? So
Mm.
it's really going to be a lot of getting to know the community organizations. Old, new it, up and coming, rebranding, whoever they may be. It's really
Thinking about, okay, we're sort of focused on reentering the justice systems. So how exactly would you work that into your, I guess, your program?
It's exactly that. So as you
Okay.
re-enter,
Mhm.
in order to reduce recidivism and
Yes.
not get into any trouble,
Mhm.
we will companion you and
Okay,
walk with you as you're out there. What do you need? Because a part of before they leave, I have created a sort of checklist of
okay,
have you grown? Now you need the shoes, now you need the socks. Like, okay.
okay,
And then what type of activities do you want to do? Do you want to go to the museum
okay.
of the African diaspora? Do you want to go to, oh, I was gonna say a baseball game, but the A's are gone. Okay.
Right.
Anywhere else, and
Okay.
pro-social activities. Do you want to join one of the CAP committees or join a committee because you are familiar with juvenile justice, so you can be an advocate
Okay.
that way?
Okay.
But however it may be, but companioning them as they re-enter and continuously be as, because we know that, youth will meet with their probation officers, will meet with mental health, to meet with your chaplain, who's there to check on your spiritual wellness and just how's it going, no pressure, no leading you or steering you in any way except the way you want to.
Age group that you,
Oh,
yeah,
for-
in your program. I mean, just well, I just know for juvenile delinquency, what's the age group that start like what, 12, 13?
Yes, they're like 13 to 25 if I include the tape.
It's at the juvenile facility, right?
Yes.
Okay. I have quite a few relatives that have gone through there. That's why I'm asking.
Oh, yes, ma'am.
So is it mixed? Is boys and girls or is it all?
We do have a co-ed unit.
Mhm.
And there are much fewer girls.
There are fewer girls?
Much fewer.
Okay. But do you do work with the girls also, right?
Oh, yes.
Okay, okay.
And there are the youth on the Community Pathways program who have come back from the state prisons who are at home doing the home-based care. So they will also get a lot of the resource chaplain's attention.
Community pathways?
Community Pathways.
Okay. Good.
Right.
Yeah.
Or do you have any questions?
Thank you for asking. Well, I really just thoroughly absorbed in your presence, but also in the information out of the college actually. And the applications for volumes to specifically how you went on, and that was many young people perish for the lack. And that's profound, and because you've taken that task for the ministry, a spiritual life, that speaks volumes, because that's the basis for our lives individually and collectively. That's my person. So, I'm passionate. Reading your responses, you told us a little about yourself. One of the things that stood out for me was having grown up in a social justice and resource providing church. I am inclined to provide ethical and prompt support to those in need. So your foundation, you have a foundation. So that speaks volume for individuals. And because you're addressing the youth and young people, I think that's really valuable, because in order to help us reduce recidivism, we have to really start at the very, very basics, where we meet them where they are, and that's really what you express, how you were platform, and I greatly admire that. And I don't have any questions really. It's just that because I understand the whole dynamics of the whole person, and knowing that our spiritual self has to have a foundation before we can function. I'm formally a person. Justice and have to have a lot of time in prison. And a lot of it was my young adult, but it's been 40 years. I was incarcerated, so I don't know how that would have affected me because I came from that foundation.
And so when I was in personally, I tried to reach out to that, so I knew that. So thank you so
So
much.
much for taking the time to fill our application out, for being a presence, and others have already met me and I've been hearing different little things in different spaces about you.
Oh, amen.
I was just waiting and anticipating, and such a pleasure to meet you.
Thank you so much.
And thank you.
I received that well.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much. We appreciate, is there anyone have anything else? Oh, I'm not sure at this point.
That's what I'm saying. Do we? Oh, she done. Ariana, do we vote to present her to the full cap, or what's our next step?
Yes, if there are no longer any questions for the applicant, then you can take a vote and then she would move forward. And if the vote goes through, then she would move forward to be at the full cap meeting.
I move that we push the Reverend Alexandria Spearman to the full cap board president to present her to the full cap board for membership.
Oh, I second.
All right.
I have a motion, I have a second. All in favor of moving Alexandria Spearman for nomination by full cap, say aye or raise your hand.
Aye.
Motion carries.
All right, thank you.
Next, you get to go for the big group.
Yes,
You got it, girl.
absolutely. Thank you so much. It's gonna be a great addition,
Mhm.
great addition.
Yeah.
Great.
Look forward to it.
Yeah, awesome. Next on our agenda is to discuss or finalize the CAB OCEC role and purpose. Attachment 3, which is pages 12, 13.
What are we doing?
We are doing the role and purpose of OCEC.
Okay.
And that's right here at 12 and 13. All right. So here on page 12, we have our CAB Outreach and Community Engagement Committee 2023 work plan.
Oh, okay.
Of course, our objective is community outreach and community engagement.
Mhm.
So, membership cultivation, task 1, survey CAB on the knowledge base of the current CAB members to be used to evaluate prospective new member applications in terms of the voids and knowledge base of current CAB membership. This will allow for search for knowledge base during recruitment process. I'm working where this is constantly ongoing, and we see that we have we had an interview today, so that's good.
Okay.
Task 2, to have the application listed on the appropriate Contra Costa County websites to recruit for current and future CAB member vacancies.
Mhm.
Is that, we have that, right? I thought so. Thank you so much, Garyana. Task 3, OCEC outreach to county and or city boards and commissions, CBOs and faith-based communities for the recruitment of current and future membership needs. That's ongoing all year, and that's all of us. Evan Decker was the lead on that. Is he, no, he's no, is he still on, is he still on this committee? No. Okay,
No, Evan, no.
all right. So we're just gonna cross him out there.
Yeah,
We'll revisit
that's everybody in ORJ.
everybody in ORJ, and we know that we do have that list, the faith-based list. We've gone over some things for the city boards and commissions.
Yeah.
So I feel like we have enough contact information. We just need to strategize on
How
how
we're
we're
gonna
gonna
contact-
continue
Yeah.
contacting people and
Yeah,
and
what's our-
getting the
what's our-
information out there.
Okay.
Task 4, OCEC will work with ORJ in reviewing the CAB membership applications and follow the operating guidelines to create an applicant pool. We've been working on that. We've seen some success in that today. Thank you. Task 5, interview the prospective CAB membership applicants and make recommendations to the full CAB for approval of any new CAB members. That's all ongoing all year long for all of us. And as we can see, we're making progress in that area. Task number 6, OCEC shall plan, develop, and schedule annual onboarding orientation training for new cab members held in January of each calendar year. We're just gonna take Evan's name off of that.
That's our retreat, right?
We had a wonderful retreat, and we're grateful again for Garyana, Patrice, and the whole ORJ staff, and the full cab that, we had a wonderful time at our retreat this past, month. And so we're looking forward to continuing to have that as a robust part of what we do. All our members are always aware, of what we do, so we can fulfill our goals. Task number 7. OCEC will ensure that all CAB members who are selected to the board after the annual training are offered and receive the essential elements of that orientation to meet their training needs. Again, our retreat and the materials there serve as great resources and tools, making sure that we're continuing to do that.
Okay, next question. Is that is that the binder that we got from the retreat? Will we
Yes.
consider that part of that?
Yes, because it says after the annual training, which I consider the same as the retreat.
Retreat, and
So
then we do, so we have it together. So we need to review it? Or is we gonna leave it stand? I meant to bring it with me today.
I
you
didn't
know,
bring
leave
mine
it-
either. I mean,
Are we
I
gonna leave
think,
it in the format that it is. Do we need to review anything?
I don't think so. I think
Okay.
it was masterfully put together.
Okay.
And I think that it provides a wealth of information
Okay.
that it covers not only CAB, but the entire CCP.
Okay.
So
Okay.
not just even beyond the entire CCP, just more things about the structure of what's going on in our county.
Okay.
And so I think there's plenty of information with all the proper attachments, and the binder was masterfully put together again. So I think that as we continue to learn that and keep up if any changes, I will say that I will be aware, I will be trying to keep up.
Okay.
And be in contact with
Okay.
the staff to see if there are any changes that happen, so we can just update as needed.
Okay. Well, I had a thought is that if we did create this, this binder was created, maybe we should have something like that for, like, we bring a new person. on board,
OCEC?
They need to have that too, so,
Right.
right? It's very precise. It's not like when we join, it's like, you're pulling all this together, but it lays it out for you. And a few of us have called it our Bible, sits on it's on our nightstand, okay?
Yeah.
Because it does help you to see where you fit in. And so I was thinking, when I was reading that the other day, I said, well, you know what? We all got the binder, and maybe there's something we need to think about that. So when we do bring someone on board, there is like a guide or a handbook or something for them to use.
Absolutely.
Okay,
Absolutely.
so I don't know
So
how we would go about.
I will coordinate with Garyana and
Yeah.
staff to see.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea to develop a manual or something to give to new members when they join the CAB. And I think with CAB's collaboration with the ORJ, we can make that possible.
Thank you so much.
Good thing this is mine because I'm writing all over
I
this.
know, me too, me too, me too. Okay, so beyond, that's membership cultivation. The next area is community outreach. Task 1. Update the CAB outreach presentation PowerPoint to reflect the current CAB policy statement and platform. And that was Scott and Crawford. And I think that was done.
That's what I was gonna
That
ask.
was-
Did they complete it? Is it part of our, Gabriella, do you know, is it part of the notebook that we have?
No, I'm not aware of any presentation that Scott and Crawford put together about CAB outreach, but I could look into it.
I think it was a slide. So yeah,
You have a drive, it's
It's on Google, it's on the
it's
Google
gonna
Drive?
be on the Google Drive.
on the Google Drive. Okay, perfect.
Okay, cool. Okay.
Awesome.
It's on Google Drive.
Okay, all right. Task number 2, identify and log the county and city boards, commissions, CBOs, faith-based, and community meetings that directly affect the reentry population. Seek community input, concern, and recommendations for reentry services. For example, HIP, QAC, RSC, Steering Committee, CCP, PPC, BOS, etc. And that was us,
Yeah.
Ms. Brenda.
Yeah, we
and-
do have the log. Well, here's the thing. I have the community-based ones. And then we have the faith-based one.
Okay,
So do we want to merge those two? But I thought we're gonna, because our faith-based one is so huge.
yeah,
I thought we wanted to, at least bring it down a little bit and
we
just.
can bring it down a little bit and we can, once we like go through some more and reach out to some different people, we can see, because we don't want to take one off per se, but we want to have the highlighted groups that
Yeah,
have these types of these types of
okay.
committees and auxiliaries in their congregations and in their circles and whatnot.
Okay.
So,
Can I ask a question? Since I'm new, the faith-based, list that you currently have, is that including all the activities? At that specific, place of worship?
no, it's just their information. So that's what we need to do is to like it's a part of our reach out is to not just,
That's them, but-
just list everyone or just tell them what we do. But I think with FedLit, and we do have contacts. However, for example, I think part of that would be, for example, like United Methodist churches normally have a justice and faith and justice groups and committees. And so, for example, if we reach out and the contact person is the pastor, we would get that information to see who will be over that auxiliary, to see where the best person or best auxiliary or group that we would be able to cultivate membership and just, hold that level of outreach. So I think that's what I need to work on.
Okay.
Is reaching out so we can get some specifics.
I had an idea, think, that might be helpful, because as I had mentioned earlier, that I would be more than helpful with any of the projects that have to do with the outreach committee. But an idea that came to me was to
Organize, we could organize them in sections in cities. And maybe for that, because I'm thinking
bigger picture, if we can do that, for the reason why I'm saying that, where I live, there are like 4 or 5 churches right in the same area, but utilizing that vision or sectioning off to be able to go into that specific area, and maybe do a presentation of
Yeah.
all the churches that can facilitate, and we just have to notify the individual churches in that area that can do a presentation. But so that we're not continuously reinventing that wheel, we're utilizing that list to kind of really extend our outreach.
Yes.
Because I'm gonna be willing to go make presentations, okay? I'm not without service and on this committee, and that's part of what I had thought about. I just wanted to
Yeah.
mention it here.
That's a great idea. And we can do that by area and we can also do it by any other subgroup or denomination. Like they may be able to, there may be one, like, let's just say, for example, all the AMEs.
Oh, yeah.
They may have a district meeting or something and we can show up there.
Yeah.
And so we can, I think
Yes,
it's a great idea.
we have quarterly conferences with
Right,
the elder, and right now he's doing individual churches, but he has been thinking about, grouping the churches. My only issue with that one for AME is we gotta, because we're all over California, so we're in Solano County, we're in Sacramento County, we're down in up in the mountains in the valley.
Mhm.
We even go up into Reno. Okay, that's part of our group.
yeah,
But so we may need, refine it down.
yeah,
But yeah, because there's an AME group, there's probably a Baptist group, I would think, that's what I'm saying, so. Even Buddhists, if they,
yeah,
I
absolutely.
don't have a problem with them either, any
Absolutely.
kind. So I said, when I looked at our list, because it was extensive,
It was.
okay? As far as different denominations and religions go, and that's something that we need to look at. Okay, and then I was worried about, non-English speaking congregations. And, and we need to think about, we need to keep that in our forefront of our minds, that not everybody is English speaking
Right,
or understanding, because remember the presentation we had?
yeah,
Where the man came in and he was explaining to us how, a lot of times when they're in court and the guys are shaking their head saying yes, well, they're just saying yes,
just saying yes,
but they have no clue what they're saying yes to.
right,
And I thought about that and I'm like, okay, we need to make sure,
absolutely.
so I'm sure with like the non-English speaking, they'll have someone that can translate if we need it, but I mean, we need to keep that in our heads.
I agree.
We also need to think about the non-English speaking and the deaf community,
I agree. I
and
agree.
the deaf
I
community,
agree.
okay?
Yes.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
okay, all right.
Absolutely.
Anyway, we're working this one. This is ongoing too, right? Yeah, I know, RJ. This is ongoing.
ASL translate.
I have a volunteer speaker.
Okay, awesome.
Okay.
Task number 3.
Um,
A cab representative will attempt to visit monthly or participate by other means, a minimum of one county or city board or boards or commissions, or COS, or community meetings that directly affect the reentry population in an effort to educate those organizations on the CAB's purpose, activities, boards the CAB advises, and what type of work CAB is doing in relation to the reentry population. In addition, the CAB representatives is to report back to the CAB on the outreach organization's basic purposes, and on their shared goals and objectives with the CAB. And that was Evan Decker.
Mm.
I know that, I'm on the JJCC. I'm always mindful, and a couple other things, but always mindful of making sure that, cross-pollinating with information and bringing things back and forth to different boards and commissions. And I've attended other meetings as well. The DA's Reimagining Youth Justice Committee. So I know that I'm constantly doing this in other boards and other things that I'm a part of. I know that some of our other members that are part of other subcommittees are on several other boards and commissions and or attend them as well. So maybe this is something that as our subcommittee grows, we can do, or we can just be in charge of highlighting it and obtaining the information from our other members that are part of the general CAB. What are your thoughts on that?
Cause I know I listened on the, Board of Supervisors, meeting, and they were discussing the budget. But we did have representatives there. Weren't you there? You there? I know Nicole was there.
PPC, I
Yeah,
was there.
PPC, right, yeah. So, and they did discuss the budget, and I think our request too, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, I wasn't sure, I was listening in, because I was driving and trying to hear at the same time.
Yeah.
So, okay,
We had a very robust conversation relative to our recommendation
right,
and as well as our excess funding and those work groups that are that employment work group, last Friday policy and budget, and next month's policy and budget work group, which will be a 3 hour. We have other agencies that are coming in, for our excess funds. So, like us, we're doing a lot of different things here.
There we go.
Fully represented.
That's it. I'm in agreement with that. So right now, as we are again getting new members and growing the subcommittee, we're just gonna transition that to all for now. Again, as I stated, and we're gonna broaden that. Okay. Task 4: coordinate the CAB Ambassadors Program to assign CAB members to be ambassadors to the Board of Supervisors and CCP executive members in order to create a two-way channel for sharing information between the CAB and the Board of Supervisors and CCP. Assist CAB developing messaging of talking points related to the ambassadors program. Okay, I know Scott did work on this. And we have our ambassadors report that we're going to be going over next. So I think we can look and see as we review the ambassadors report, we can come back and revisit how this played out in our work plan for last year and how we'll carry it on for next year.
I know so he says through March to July. Is that we're gonna discuss the assignments? That's the full CAB, right? Not just us. I mean, it's the full CAB because I think that's what we did last time, you know, we had a meeting and people volunteered for where they wanted to go. There was a front
Right.
person and a
Yes,
back person
absolutely.
and that kind of stuff, so, so I guess that's March through July, right? So that's what we're gonna be doing it then,
Yes,
okay?
we can keep the same,
So we'll keep the same format, right?
yes.
Okay,
And what we can do is, as we take this to the general meeting, we can get a consensus of, who may be interested and who may be already doing some of these things, so we can just, again, work together and just be responsible for reporting everything out.
okay. Okay.
Could I ask that there be something added on to the work,
Okay,
and that is, the 8109 annual mini summit,
mm,
because this will be the second year. And, just to kind of, I don't know, Ariana, is that something that's, feasible at this point for us to add that on to the work plan for this committee?
I think it's something that we can add on just to keep as a reference. But yeah, no, I think that's possible for us to add on. And if we're not able to get to it, then we can discuss that at a later time. But I do think that's possible to add on to the OCEC work plan for 2024.
And we might want to put a, August will be our rollout for that, because that last year it was in August, so.
Oh, you need a date
So
figured,
we want to
okay,
make sure that
Okay.
August is our rollout, so that we're gonna have to start planning, and I definitely will be on that.
okay, awesome.
And
Okay.
would need some assistance.
Okay. So we'll work to get that going.
Okay.
Sounds good. Any other comments on,
let me ask you a question, the 8109 mini summit, is that gonna be for, Contra Costa County? Or is it gonna be like the one where, we had San Francisco, we had Santa Clara,
We're gonna
we
have
had, so we're gonna have, okay, that's what I wanna make sure, I just wanna make sure we're going.
same one, hopefully, because I think there's 8 neighboring. We had
Counties.
Solano County, we had Alameda
Need to count,
County,
right?
San
Cisco,
Francisco,
okay.
Santa Clara.
Okay.
So then there's still Marin and
have a Sonoma?
Sonoma, right? that's
Okay.
the other.
Okay,
So we want to kind of like really expand it, and
okay,
the conversation was the vision. And before moving it on, I know apparently there was some conversation that another county was going to take it on, take charge of the summit this year.
oh,
But I think that there was some conversation where it was suggested that we get the vision of what it is that we want it to be before we pass it on, and kind of like really get the feel. The first one was great, we had great reception, but there still was some things that needed to be massaged a little bit more and kind of extended, so that when we do hand it off, we're handing it off in a package. And we have had continuous support for more than, for at least a second or third before we hand it over.
okay, this be task number 5 for us, correct? Task number 5 for us, but because you said you wanted to add it to the work plan, correct? Okay, so they'll have task number 5.
Okay,
I did the, what's this, community outreach, right? Right. So we need to really work this one out.
good. Right. Our next agenda item is to discuss and review the ambassador meeting reports.
Mhm.
That's on attachment 4, pages 14 through 49.
Yeah. I think we got them all, right? Didn't we get all of them?
Okay. So,
Here, he's retiring. Love her.
Yes.
He's retiring, right? I heard that on the news. Oh, this is, okay.
so let's just take a look. Let me skim. Bring out a couple things. Let's see. Supervisor Glover,
Okay.
they met September 6th, 2023. And The highlights. Her initial conversation focused on the most critical areas identified in the housing survey: housing, substance use treatment, mental health services, and employment. Rena Moore was able to give her personal account of the importance of these subjects, the challenges she faced through reentry. Scott gave his perspective from a full law enforcement career that aligned with Rena's perspective and made for powerful and compelling presentation to these 4 areas of reentry concern. Supervisor Glover offered a perspective based on a significant number of years of experience addressing these issues from his political position as county supervisor. He not only agreed with the CAB's findings from the survey, but was able to address the efforts in the East County communities where his office had placed resources to support the formerly incarcerated population. We discussed the diversity of our CAB members as it relates to their familiarity with the community justice system. This put light on the value of the main detention facility tour by Assistant Sheriff Simpkins, which enlightened those who had never been who had never either been incarcerated, worked in the jail, or visited jail. We expressed our support of the Holistic Intervention Partnership, which is overseen by the Public Defender's Office. This program recognizes that quite often when a person is arrested and booked into a county jail, they may also be experiencing a crisis of addiction or mental health or some other challenge, which requires immediate intervention, which should not wait for a court date to occur. We discussed the agency survey results that identified findings which suggest in some instances, there remains a lack of communication and coordination between CBOs and criminal justice agencies. It was also noted that in some cases, there has been a duplication of services and a lack of knowledge by some existing services. This created awareness that the probation department has a daunting task corralling all the value propositions of these agencies and may be well served being given additional resources to meet those demands. Supervisor Glover concluded by referring to legislation that his office has supported the state of California that would aid incarcerated persons in reentry. I know one thing I
Do we know, did they tell us where we can find this information that did first? Because I looked at it and I didn't see where it says,
I didn't see it either. And I think what I'm concerned with is the last one that I read, a lack of communication and coordination between the CBOs and criminal justice agencies.
oh, yeah.
I know that as a CBO myself, there oftentimes, if you're not, clearly as involved as I am on so many different facets, there can be, just like a lack of communication there. And oftentimes there are organizations that we're not aware of that are doing work that can be funded. I know that there are, like, for example, Beat the Streets is one who has reached out to me several times, and I'm working on trying to get funding for them. They're in East County as well. I know there's a lack of services there, and we're working to get services in East County, but Beat the Streets, they serve not only youth, but young adults as well. So I definitely agree with this. And like it says here, corralling the value propositions of these agencies and may be well served being given additional resources to meet those demands. So I think maybe we can maybe reach out to review this, maybe even reach out to the members to see if there were any specific organizations that may have been mentioned. I know, especially because Supervisor Glover supervises partially in East County area.
Also, the duplication, I think that's been brought up, that duplication of services. I mean, that's something we may want to highlight.
Okay.
Because, a lot of people are doing a lot of things, but a lot of things are being duplicated. So if we could narrow it down, so we'll know, that each group, okay, well, you don't have to do that because this, so we need to make some kind of communication, I'm thinking, because I've noticed that's noticed a lot, duplication of effort. And so if we could help to streamline that, I think it would be helpful. Perfect. I'll pick that up on the.
Okay. see what else we have here.
One of the things that I know beyond Supervisor Glover's as well, that I would have liked to question, and that's in the second bullet. Because he had placed resources and support for the formerly incarcerated population, specifically, which, what funding
Oh, I see.
specifically speaking of. And the other thing that I highlighted was also the legislation. You know, I didn't pronounce.
I know what you're saying. I don't know if I can pronounce it, but I know what you're saying.
Right.
Okay.
And that's the last bullet on
Which
the
one?
last bullet.
Okay.
Find out what it was specifically.
That's what I was, yeah, what exactly? You know, what's he? If we need to get in contact with his office, or maybe, I guess Rena's the only one that's left because Scott's gone, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
okay, good stuff, good stuff. Next, we have the meeting with Supervisor Carlson, and that was September 25th, 2023. Highlights: attendance for Scott Parsons and Crawford Carpenter, Alejandro Sanchez, and supervisor staff also attended the meeting. General comments: Alejandro Sanchez from the supervisor staff also attended the meeting. He was interested in our tour of Martinez Detention Facility. Supervisor Carlson was impressed with what has been done at the physical facility and efforts to provide better service in the mental health arena. He is looking to see future ADA compliance efforts in the Martinez facility, okay? We discussed the diversity of our CAB members as it relates to their familiarity with the criminal justice system. They put light on the value of the main detention facility tour by assist. Sheriff Simpkins was all, okay, this is Simpkins, the other one, okay? Which was enlighten those who had never been incarcerated, worked in a jail, or visited jail. As a previous police officer in Concord, Supervisor Carlson shared what he called his fish story. This was an instance where a lady working behind a counter at an establishment had previously been arrested by him. She noticed him at the store and thanked him for his role in getting her life together, even though she had been incarcerated. Then there was another story regarding a guy who had various run-ins with the law. The supervisor saw this person at a Safeway store, and this person's life was changed. He was still living on the edge. A tale of two people, which tells us how the system can assist you if you desire to take advantage of it. Housing. He was at a recent meeting regarding a Bay Area bond measure for affordable housing. If approved, the bond measure would have a significant impact on Contra Costa County and possibly aiding returning residents. There needs to be an inventory of housing, which we don't have. He's all in on working with nonprofits to support housing. Okay. I'll take a pause there just to highlight again, we want to see which services are being duplicated and which services are lacking so that if need be, we can, if there's not already been a list identified, we can see what some of these nonprofits are. Behavioral health. We don't have enough healthcare services. Our need is to have bilingual individuals administering that care. He sees major challenges in our pipeline in order to recruit potential behavioral health and law enforcement officers. It is so very difficult to hire professionals in these areas. We expressed our support for the Holistic Intervention Partnership, which is overseen by the Public Defender's Office. This program recognizes that quite often when a person is arrested and booked into the county jail, they may also be experiencing a crisis of addiction, mental health, or some other challenge which requires immediate intervention. Employment. Some who have been incarcerated might have learned skills while retained. We need more organizations to assist in this area. Workforce development can be aided through our CBO network. Pre and post release. We discussed the agency survey results that identified findings which suggest in some instances there remains a lack of communication and coordination between CBOs and criminal justice agencies. It's also noted that in some cases there's been a duplicate. So this is the same thing. This is kind of the same thing as I'm skimming over it. So this is, I'd like to note here that it's like a duplication. I will say that it says on the next page, CBOs are boots on the ground and he thinks highly of them. Partnerships are key to serving the reentry community strategically placed throughout the county. So again, as we're reaching out, continuing to identify what CBOs are doing what, and of course, inviting people to do presentations and seeing who and what's out there. Any discussion or questions on that? Okay. Next, Supervisor Burgess. So this was on September 27th, 2023. Nicole Green and Crawford Carpenter attended this meeting, and her staff members Ashley Goodard and Stephen Griswold. Okay. General comments. So this is her feedback. Supervisor Burgess asked that cabs four of the Martinez, I guess that meant tour of the Martinez detention facility. She wondered what observations or recommendations were made by the sheriff's office. It was suggested that a better handoff process be developed for those being released from custody. At the end of our meeting, Supervisor Burgess said that she joined us in our recommendations. Her parting statement was, heroes go through hard times, turn around and help others. So recommendation one was housing. Supervisor Burgess noted that she completed a meeting in Brentwood and Antioch around. There was a resistance from the community, cost factor in getting housing. Brentwood and Antioch have dire housing needs. Supervisor Burgess urged CAB to bring our recommendations to the various cities in Contra Costa County, sharing the benefits of growing our family units. Okay. Trying to get the main points. A community, let's see, additional feedback regarding housing. I'd like to highlight number 2. Community buy-in is the more challenging work that makes a difference. We say we really want this to happen, and a lot of community may feel that this is not important to them. So again, this helps as we reach out and find different CBOs, and we reach out into the community to make sure that we're including and getting the voice of the community. Okay, behavioral health. She said that the new West County Detention Center will have the ability to service behavioral health needs. The challenge is that some incarcerated people will not utilize those services. We need to do better and ensure that individuals has access. The care court system is coming. She questioned if the money the county will be receiving will just be shifting and how we spend it on different programs. This could affect funding for behavioral health. Okay. Now, the feedback, and what I'm saying here from this is that we don't know if this behavioral and mental health is mandated as well. So it may be mandated while in custody, but not mandated upon release. So that's something to note as well. And also, while we have a lack of services as well.
Are you saying services post-release?
Yes, post-release.
Look, I know, so when they're incarcerated, there is something. Is that what we're saying? And then when they're released, there isn't? Or
Yeah,
can we do
oftentimes there isn't.
that?
Oftentimes there isn't, or it may be vice versa. Some people may develop mental health challenges as a result of being incarcerated.
Right.
So,
So I was just wondering, because what is this care court? Does anyone know what that is? I'm gonna have to look that up. I hadn't heard about that.
familiar with
When
that.
she said care court is coming, the care court system is coming. I was just wondering what it was. I'll check, I'm gonna look.
Yeah, I'm gonna look into that as well.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, so another recommendation was employment. She agreed that about employment and recommendations, would be interested in the San Francisco and Alameda County boilerplates regarding county jobs. She sees being qualified as the major issue. Let's be careful who we hire so that returning residents don't harm others if hired by the county. Training is the key. She felt that training individuals for jobs while incarcerated would be helpful. A comment was made regarding removing the stigma of past incarceration during the hiring process. In effect, trust has to be re-earned, so a company will trust the justice impacted individual with their customers. Additional feedback, racial equity and justice impact coming soon. We'll look at those areas as they are trying to change equity for individuals. CAB should meet with that office to share ideas, goals, become a part of the racial equity and justice impact. So I'm not sure which one of our members attends that. I know I've attended some of those meetings, but I don't know if we have someone designated
For that,
for that.
do
We
you know
can
if we have anyone?
look into that.
Not
Assign
that I'm
that.
really familiar with at this point.
So we can look into that too, though, see.
Okay. What else? Okay, pre and post release.
Yeah.
Better visitation services are needed to encourage family connections. Additional feedback, there's been conversation around how people can get SSI, ID,
Mhm.
SSI benefits and CalWorks, provide an example of models that are happening, a diversion program, adding navigation throughout the county for RFP applications. There we go. It's a good one. Identifying housing before someone is released, start the process early, develop more robust ties to family and friends. She agrees with all the recommendations and what are the current providers doing. So again, I think this will help us to see what CBOs are.
Okay.
So we're not getting a duplication of services, but we're also understanding
Okay.
who's doing what, and we can actually maybe invite other people to see, you know, their data. Right.
Okay.
Let's see. CAB ambassador meeting. Okay, this was H3. This is Christy Saxton, H3. This was September 13th. So H3 is health, housing, and homeless.
Okay.
Okay, recommendation 1 on housing. Feedback on doing consumer survey, should provide details from the community and community providers, expand our survey to more than just CBOs and post pre-release. Suggested a consumer survey to determine the population's needs. Well, will help determine what the justice population genuinely needs. Number 3, determine the types of funding to get people on their feet and connected to family assistance, such as short-term, long-term assistance, disability, what type of assistance is needed. The most needed are interim housing, okay, shelter, Delta Landing, there's a short-term, 4 to 6 months. County is working with probation, H3, and the public defender's offices, so we see some cross-pollination there in our county. Board of Supervisors is calling a joint meeting. There's a need for collaboration on an action lab nationwide. The areas of action lab, collaborative case management system working together. What are the housing resources? We should work the system first before looking at other areas. Start with focusing on juvenile systems with the idea that if you intervene in youth populations and homelessness, generational lifetime homelessness can be eliminated. That is so true. Start with the juvenile system, then adults.
Right.
Next would be to review the system first. What does that look like? Statewide fed systems set up to work together. Probation outreach team. How can we partner with the county program access point connected to coordinated entry? Okay, good stuff. She recommended the creation of a transitional age youth team and a specialist team, employing people with lived experience from that population. So all wonderful things. Recommendation 2, behavioral health. So we see common thread. Okay, let's see, behavioral health. Cal, Amin or Amin. Is a place, and we'll focus on the coordination of pre and post release. Housing as a social determinant of health. It's very similar to behavioral health and substance abuse. Okay, so we see this right here. Communication around wraparound services. Just skimming to make sure that we're not repeating things. Okay, so these are some of the same recommendations. Behavioral health. Next is employment. Stable income is key. Data from 2022 shows that on average, you would need 3 full-time jobs and minimum, sweet Jesus. Minimum wages to afford a 2-bedroom. The income ratio with the cost of living needs to be better. Affordable housing developers giving people feedback so they cannot work more to afford affordable housing.
Oh, I don't understand that. What
Yeah,
does that mean? It says affordable housing developers give people feedback so they cannot work more to afford affordable housing.
so that they can, well.
Hmm?
I think it's about not making over well, the way I interpret that is not making above a certain amount so that you can,
Oh, they have a preset amount
for you to even qualify for.
to qualify to be into the program. Okay.
Okay. I see notice here. Right, exactly. The next one, this is a system that is made to keep people down, keep them low income. We need to find a way to help people skill up and for justice impacted, how do we advocate better options for employment? Indicators show the how the box works, always disclosing and not allowing people to move past it. Until we start looking at larger issues, how can we expect people to a larger income become better? Removing the restrictions attached to the funding, look at different ways to get around that. H3, what does the person need? Some assistance, maybe a little help, more time, an extension. Pilot, sallow subsidy program, paying for 2 years with a short amount of 300 to 500 a month. H3 is looking at ways from the housing side to provide relief for those with low or no income. Your greatest resource is the people, us, family support and assistance. I have more lived experience. So we see some of these things,
The higher, just keep coming.
some of these things are repetitive in many of our boards and within our meetings. Okay, post-release. Creation of better core team process and teams. How do we loop in the community? Bridge housing is a great direction to move forward. We have, just skimming, bridge housing, hotel, tiny village, motel, identifying the type we want. System and program collaboration challenges. I think my question is that wondering what funds are in place for these things. So all these are great recommendations. I think we need to
Yeah, are they state funded?
see what's
County
funded and,
funded or,
right,
so, well, first we need to know, we need to get an idea of what all these programs are. You know, because we have the perspective from Glover, then we have a perspective from Burgess, and then we're going to this, you know, this H3. And so, you know, you see what I'm saying is that, that would be kind of difficult. I don't know how we would do that. Actually, you know, figure out where the funding is coming from. Because that's really going to help us, because once you find out where the funding is coming from, you'll also get to what the restrictions are. And we need to know, you know, what restrictions are out there so that we can help our, you know, re-entry people to get over them, because they're gonna put a hurdle out there for them. So we need to, you know, if we knew going in, okay, I know going in, well, you can't do da. Then I could say, okay, if you have this is not a program for you. You may need to find you another program. But we still need to know where the funding is coming from. So I don't know if it's state, federal, county,
right,
you know. So how do we find that kind of information out?
right.
That public information?
I think there's just other questions that we need to ask.
Yeah, we keep,
Yeah.
If I can
Uh,
add something,
Yes,
I
ma'am.
know CAB policy and budget is exploring that question about the funding piece
Oh,
for like
okay.
CBOs and other agencies and other organizations. So it could be worthwhile to reach out to the chair, Nicole Green, to see if she has any information about what agencies and what organizations are being funded. And also CAB Programs and Services is creating a grid that's going to, well, hopefully it's going to capture all the different services that are out there in the county. And that could be beneficial to OCEC to see what services exist, because I think hearing from the ambassadors reports, it sounds like there's a lot of disconnect about like what services exist and who's getting this information and how to fix that gap between what services exist, where are the services, and who are getting the information for these services.
Thank you.
So,
Oh,
again, I'd like to highlight some new things new information that maybe hasn't been heard. In the next, Ellen McDonald, excuse me. This meeting was August 24th. Update on the Public Defender's Office. So housing, some of the same things.
there we go.
I think one thing that's worth highlighting from number 2, behavioral health, is that there are only currently nine social workers. So maybe they're looking for AB 109 funding that possibly could exist in hiring a client service team, expanding capacity, number 5, looking at a holistic model. Number 6, better collaboration within programs and county offices, learning how to work together, starting to work together. Of course, some of the other same issues with behavioral access support, and not having access in jail to drug and alcohol treatment. And also making sure that the youth have social workers as well as the adults. Employment, some of the same things were mentioned relative to finding job classifications. So a lot of the barriers for felonies. I'd like to note here that they mentioned that the county's clean slate, robust clean slate program. But one issue is that it takes months to go to courts. Court case management is now available online. Odyssey has a public portal. Mentioned here that Prop 47 had great results. So I think, again, just some of the same issues regarding and as we move to pre and post release, and maybe this has something to do with the hiring and the hiring, if there's a budget for, or the fact that there are only 9 social workers, creating pathways for inmates to obtain their SSC and driver's license, social security card, driver's license while in custody. Again, we know that many of these barriers are created as a result of being incarcerated. So maybe we can follow up and talk to some of the social workers possibly to see from their perspective directly, and see what other resources and other ways for providing resources for the incarcerated and formerly incarcerated. Thinking there.
Bridging the housing services everywhere, on every,
Yes,
you know.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Our next one, Monica Nino. Update on the CAO's office and CAPS proposals. It was September 8th. Housing, again, countywide. Behavioral health, again, same thing, countywide resources. We know that there's a gap in employment. Yeah, some of the same things. Our programs are remaining flexible in their services. Evaluating, I'd like to highlight number 4, evaluating programs to determine if they're working, and if they're not working, what can we do? So we know that there are several we are moving to evidence-based evidence-based practices throughout not just the probation department, but the county at large. So I know that this is a great recommendation, and you know, we'll be doing our job to make sure that when people come present to us as a group, that they are bringing their data and their statistics as well, so we can see what's working and it's not. I'd also like to highlight number 4 on other feedback. Pointed out that updates are being made to policies and procedures around RFPs. RFP has been weak countywide, and some constituencies need to be in the required outcome. Okay. I know that they're working on that. I want to highlight that there. Everything else is very duplicate things about partnership. Our next meeting with Matt Malone, October 2nd, 2023, update on the courts of CAPS proposals and activities. Feedback is here, is having reviewed the court's leadership, court must respectfully decline the invitation for a meeting. The court must remain neutral and cannot advocate. So
Yeah, we couldn't get that.
that's that.
Yeah, they wouldn't do that for us,
That's that.
but that makes sense if they have to be neutral, I guess. Okay.
All right, Assistant Sheriff Simpkins. This meeting was held on September 8th. Tanya Thompson and Crawford Carpenter. He talked about how our court systems send people to jail. Keep in mind that the state cannot handle their incarceration. It was passed to the counties whose facilities were not equipped to handle the onslaught of individuals. So this is just all of, opinion on what's going on with people that are in custody. He emphasized we must never be forgotten. are the victims and their families, okay? Um, Same things about affordable housing. Um, we already talked about the skyrocketing mental health issues that result in detention at Martinez Detention Facility. So, we know that there's a lack of behavioral health clinicians. Employment. It mentioned here, trade skill partners are a key and essential assist to pre and post incarceration services. So job training, I mentioned several interests in establishing partnerships with trade programs such as welding, plumbing, heating and air conditioning, sign making, and culinary. So it gave some options. I'd also like to highlight in post-release, said fatherhood is important. There are just too many men that are incarcerated, speaking on the role of fathers and how that's going down. And clearly I can highlight how that's connected to the school to prison pipeline. Okay, I want to highlight what he said, discuss the forthcoming facility schedule completion in early 2025. A new detention facility in West County will be known as West County Reentry Treatment and Housing Facility. It was constructed with AB 109 considerations in mind. The facility is strategically designed to reduce bed capacity in Martinez and to provide additional support and resources incarcerated. Right. Supervisor Joya, September 5th. Brenda Lee and Crawford Carpenter.
What got us? Okay.
Okay, so he was pretty impressed with the CAB's AB 109 mini summit. Mentioned, as Ozzy already stated, working with some of the other counties. He said his office works with Reentry Success Center in Richmond. We already know that housing, even in West County. I know that there's a need in East County, but there's also a challenge here in West County. Behavioral health. I'd like that he included the need for clinical workers, but also peer mentoring. And as Reverend Alexandria mentioned some of the things that happening in chaplaincy and with clinical chaplains being able to fill in some of the gaps with providing clinical chaplain services as well as peer mentoring as well. And this is helping to reduce recidivism. One of the nonprofits that he highlighted was Men and Women Purpose.
Didn't we have a meeting with them?
Yes, yes, we have met with them. I mentioned, of course, Reentry Success Center in Rubicon.
Right.
And building upon the lived experiences. That was great. All right. District Attorney Beckton, meeting was October 3rd, the 10th, and the 10th, excuse me. DA Beckton and Simon O'Connell were in attendance from her office. This was Scott Parsons and Crawford Carpenter. Okay, housing. Some of the same things. Some of the same things, and just creating space for people that are just as impacted. Okay. There's a crucial need for behavioral health, some of the same things. She said she doesn't necessarily deal with employment, but she mentioned a comment was made about partnerships with local unions as an avenue of employment. And of course, some type of mobile communication to our previously incarcerated citizens, making them more aware of employment activities.
Okay.
So pre and post release services. Let's talk about what her office has been involved with. The prosecution initiative, her office looks back at some old cases to ascertain if past sentencing may have been too harsh. They prepare a review package for a judge to reassess. This is wonderful. Community Academy. We know the Sheriff's Department has something similar, so that they're including people are learning. The data dashboard, again, we have some evidence-based things. Our neighborhood restorative partnership, that's a review panel. So we have some restorative justice here. This is wonderful. So some low-level cases. This is great. Offender victim needs. So let's see. So an RFP is going out from her office. help establish not only the needs of offenders, but the needs of victims. This is wonderful. So maybe we can keep tabs on some of these offices to see where these things are coming out. And part of what we can do is in our outreach and engagement, is let some of our organizations know about these RFPs as they are coming out.
Oh, yeah, okay,
I think that would be great. So I'm gonna write that down. Give me a second.
okay. Idea.
Yeah, I think we should come up with an RFP list and, you know, we can at least get some information out and help to disseminate that. Okay, next meeting, September 20th, Marla Stewart at EHSD. Okay, Carolyn Fowdy, Latanya Thompson, and Crawford Carpenter. Okay, we mentioned housing, resources mentioned here are Cal Works and Housing Support Program. This mentions applicants that have children, qualifying children being the qualifying factor. And they assist with housing, moving, rental assistance, maximum up to 2 years, and with furniture. Wonderful. SSI, again, this is something else that's been brought up time and time again. We know that there are issues regarding denial and appeals and potential litigation. This is a very big issue. A lot of people do not have lawyers to help them to get their SSI. So this is something to possibly look into as well. Housing Disability Assistance Program. So we have something specific here for disabled people, connecting people to CalWorks. That's something that's been brought up again. They have hotel vouchers for up to 16 days per year. And okay, a youth program is available for individuals up to 25 years of age, irrespective of Contra Costa residency. Eligibility is determined by meeting specified criteria, including prior involvement in the justice system. Okay, so I need to follow that personally within myself on that.
Okay.
Behavioral health, okay, Medi-Cal has various issues for those incarcerated and may assist justice involved individuals working through that quagmire. Health Department provides services assisting people to get Medi-Cal prior to their release and collaborating with health services. Okay. Let's see here, starting January 2023, benefits will be reinstated 60 days prior to the release, so that's good. We have some continuum of care. Employment. Some of the same barriers we have here. Again, this is highlighting the CalWorks program and some of the things that they provide, including 100% childcare for children the ages 11 and under, housing assistance, educational assistance up to a bachelor's degree. Wow. They provide computers, textbooks, transportation, uniform, shoes, access to mental services, and assistance for domestic violence situations. They're dedicated to helping individuals overcome barriers and will cover their salary for the first year, ensuring employers do not bear the cost. Essentially, employers gain a valuable employee at no expense. Additionally, they specialize in family reunification and offer services through the workplace development, which is really good. Their focus areas include entry populations, youth, and displaced workers. So I'm gonna do some personal follow-up with CalWorks myself to get some additional information.
Okay. Look at the pre.
Okay, I'd like to also highlight here. Parental strengthening is important along badly needed peer support. Neglect is an issue. They try to deal with that. Neglect comes from the issue of lack of resources for those who are justice impacted. Talked about the barriers with youth, peer workers. Okay, again, there. The Family First Prevention Act aims to prevent families from entering the child welfare system, primarily addressing cases related to neglect, which is the leading cause for intervention. Initial funding of $500 million will focus on Antioch and Pittsburgh for the first few years. This program is stated to be operational in the next 6 to 12 months. Definitely worth highlighting.
Yeah.
So again,
First
something
prevention.
to
Family.
follow up on.
Okay.
And lastly, we have the group here was behavioral health ambassador meeting, Suzanne Tabano. Marie Scannell, and Fatima Matalso. Housing is at the top of the list. Some of the same things, reading skills, housing. Talking about getting the person to be financially stable. Transitions, there being a gap between transition from incarceration to treatment. Again, some of the same recurring themes of mental health, alcohol and drug, and housing first. So some of the same things we have here. Some of the same things, family reunification and financial literacy. Okay, that's a good one that I hadn't really heard mentioned before. Discussions around landlords and their challenges and what actions can be taken to ensure tenants are not evicted without due process. Okay. There'll be some behavioral health. There's some of the same mentions of Cal AIM. I'd like to highlight alcohol and drug, the AB 109 providers to be trained in Narcan. We talked about that before. Alcohol and drug. About additional support for LGBTQ and Latino population. We've mentioned language barriers as well already. I like this right here, number 6, funds toward more cultural training of the justice impacted, ensuring staff understand the culture of those in custody. Hiring more staff with lived experience, and building trust. Recommendation, better employment opportunities, ban the box, we talked about that. And just some of the same barriers. Post release. Some of the same things, staffing.
Yeah.
Okay, any discussion or thoughts? In addition to what we've already shared and read, I know it's quite a bit of information we may need to take in.
Yeah.
But I really want to take some time for us to really discuss this.
Yeah.
And just go over it so that we can find, some gaps as well as overlaps.
Yeah.
Any questions or discussion? Right. Limited time. Our next agenda item is to discuss and review the CAB flyers. That's page 50 to 51. I think they're wonderful.
Where are these, excuse me, are these passed out?
Well, this is for us to review, so that it can be disseminated,
Okay,
Okay. I'd like to highlight, I love the show of diversity. with the
Yes,
hand.
and-
It shows unity, it shows diversity. I like, the use of bold and italicized and colored language,
okay,
and the highlights. I like the fact that we've utilized technology to include a QR code. And it's bright and it has beautiful colors, and
oh, okay.
I like the use of bullet points, the highlighting of a lot of the things that we're working on. And I think it's very well put together. Any discussions or thoughts or questions regarding the flyer?
I'm impressed with that.
I'm extremely impressed.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you, ORJ staff.
Did you guys put it together? Very talented.
Thank you so much.
It brings it, yeah. Like, what is CAB? Yeah.
I think this is something that we're supposed to be OCEC is supposed to be looking at
Just
in order to
take it.
revise it, to see if we want to revise it to include other things, because this is definitely a recruitment.
Okay.
Okay, one of the things that I wanted to really note is something that I've been talking about, QR code. There is a QR code
Mhm.
here on this particular flyer. I think the objective of having this was to revamp it, to include our outreach, not only for specifically board members, which is good, or to decide if you want to use this for recruitment for board members, and then create something else for recruiting other organizations or other individuals, lived experiences or whatever. So I think you're supposed to make a decision on how this is going to look and how we're going to move forward with this as far as our visual for our community and the different sectors that we want to be basically marketing ourselves.
Well, again, I think the use of the QR code and the color, the language, I feel like there are questions here for some of the most basic questions that are asked and answered. And I think it's my satisfaction. I love the highlight of diversity. It's an invitation for all. Again, the highlighting of the questions and the answers. I think it's great. The language is inviting as well.
So my question, is this supposed to be a recruitment flyer and what a PI, public information, or is it to be both? Because, okay, to me, a recruitment flyer would be a little bit different. You know, we need to da, 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 da. And then if we're saying we're introducing the community to CAB. And this one right here to me is we're introducing the community. So, you know, I like I said, join the community advisory board. I'd probably make that bigger so they can actually see, you know, and then explain what, you know, it says, and then it says, what is CAB? So those are, to me, this is we're announcing CAB, we're introducing it to the community so that they know that it's out there, because a lot of them don't even know it's out there. Because when I say to people, I got a CAB meeting on Tuesday, and they're like, oh, what? What is that? You know, that's the first thing out their mouth. What is that? So I think we need to, you know, not only recruit, because I think the recruitment, I look at this as the recruitment, and I look at this one as the, you know, public information, because we need to get it out there. You know, I mean, I got introduced to CAB by accident. Seriously. Some guy said, you know, go check this out. And that's how I, you know,
Turn back.
yeah, see, that's all I'm saying. That's what I'm just thinking. We can look at it again. Okay.
So we can look at it again, and we'll come back and circle back around, and we'll take some time to really look at it in depth.
But I think it looks good.
Before we adjourn, I know we got into this, but I want to go back to the ambassador report and what the task was. While we were reviewing, how the was reviewing those different reports, what was it that we supposed to do? And to be, are we going on task to read agenda and to come back with the thought that we need to bring or take something out of these, ambassadors to compile something?
I think we definitely review and discuss. I think we should re-agendize so that we can highlight some of, pull apart some of the things. We can maybe talk about some of the things that were cross-referenced and some of the things that stood out. I think that might be a good idea
Okay, for our next step.
for our next steps.
Okay, I just want.
Oh, sorry,
Hello?
Ozzy. I didn't mean to cut you off. You can go ahead and finish your thought.
I just wanted to say for my own remembering, because I have to get in when
Yes.
I'm thinking about it, so I'm
Yeah.
sorry for tasking back. to
Oh,
that.
no, that's fine.
I wanted to really.
That's a lot of good information. I think, again, if we were able to put that on paper, you know, some of the things that were repeated, some of the repeat things, and then also some of the things that stood out specifically that were not, you know, brought up by everyone. I think that would be a great way of us looking at some of the different specific things.
Yeah, what I was going to add is during the discussion, I was taking notes on things that the members were saying as like highlights or concerns or things that came up for them looking at the reports. And I was going to follow up and send that back to the
Okay.
OCEC subcommittee. And then that's
Yes.
something that you can share with the full group.
Yeah. Yeah.
Does that answer your question, Ozzy?
Absolutely, and thank you, Garyana.
No problem. I'm here to help.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, but that was, you got it all, because me and you, right, that was.
Right,
You know, it's
exactly.
like, I'm gonna put that together. I don't know
Exactly.
yet, but you know, but that's, thank you, because
Thank
that's
you.
what we need, you know, so she will sort of gather and say, okay, these are the things that stood out.
Awesome.
So my question is, do we have to report back to CAB? Is that what that's going to happen? Is that what happens? Once we compile all this stuff,
Yes.
then we'll report back to CAB?
Yes.
So you'll report back to CAB.
Yes.
I love
Have a
saying
little more
that.
time after that. Right, right.
Okay, I'm just wondering how that works out. Okay, I got it. I'm good.
All hearts and minds are clear.
Yes,
I'd like to move that we adjourn our meeting, and we re-agendize, of course, this item for next time as well.
Our next steps, do we have next steps? Do we have next steps, sir? You have any?
I
I'll
wrote
send you
down,
an email.
Yeah.
okay, and I also
No,
wrote down some next steps if you want me to
Okay,
go
that's
over
what I
them
got.
right now. I have strategized on messaging to city officials and leaders, develop a manual or binder for new members joining CAB, presentations to faith-based organizations and other agencies, consolidate outreach lists, determine what agencies can be grouped together, discuss AB 109 mini summit, add that to the work plan, and debrief ambassador meeting assignments. And yeah,
That's a
that's it.
lot.
Thank you so much, Gary.
Yeah, please send that to us.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, okay. Woo. What's going on with Mark? Do we need to contact him?
Mark Hannon?
Is it
Yeah.
Hadley?
Someone needs to reach
Hanley?
out. Oh, we could, yeah. Do we need to, I move that we adjourn our meeting?
Okay, meeting.
Meeting adjourned.
Okay. Do we need a second?
We'll reach out.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys, you know?
I'm so sorry.